In a small, quiet home, there was a cat who waited. Every day she sat by the door, hoping, waiting for someone who would never return. This is the story of Cleo, a tale of hope, loss, and unconditional love. She waited every single day by the door, rain or shine, hoping he'd come back. But what if he never would? There's a bond between animals and humans that we'll never fully understand. A bond that transcends words, time, even death. And today, we're sharing the story of a cat who didn't just love her owner. She waited for him long after he was gone. Her story is one of unwavering hope, heartbreaking loss, and the purest form of love you'll ever witness. And once you hear it, you'll never look at your pet the same way again. It started like any other day. Hannah, a single mother living in a small, quiet town, had just finished making breakfast for her young son, Max. Across the room, sitting silently by the front door, was Cleo, their family cat. Every morning, Cleo waited patiently, her ears perked up, her gaze fixed on the door as if something was about to happen. But nothing ever did. You see, Cleo had once had a best friend, someone who never missed a single day with her. That someone was Hannah's husband, Paul. Paul was Cleo's everything. The moment he came home from work, she'd jump into his lap, purring contently. Every night, he'd talk to her as if she understood every word. They had a routine, one that never broke until one tragic day when it did. Paul left for work one morning and never came back. A terrible accident, they said. The kind of accident you don't walk away from. Hannah was shattered, her world torn apart. But what no one noticed was how it affected Cleo. While Hannah and Max cried and mourned, Cleo didn't understand. She only knew that Paul was gone, and she had no idea why. Days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months. And still, Cleo waited. Every morning, she'd sit by the door, waiting for that familiar sound. The keys jingling, the door creaking open, Paul's voice calling her name. But every day, she was met with silence. Cleo would run to the window at the slightest sound, her tail twitching with hope. But every time, it wasn't him. "She doesn't understand," Hannah whispered one night, watching Cleo from the couch. "She thinks he's still coming home." Max looked up at her, confusion in his innocent eyes. "Why isn't Daddy coming home, Mom?" Hannah's heart broke a little more each time she had to answer that question. "Because, sweetheart, Daddy's in heaven." But how could you explain heaven to a cat? As time passed, Hannah thought Cleo might move on, but she didn't. Every day she was there, sitting, waiting, hoping. Cleo would meow at the door as if Paul was just late, as if he'd come walking in any minute with that smile on his face. But the months turned into years, and Cleo, she never gave up. One day, Hannah tried something different. She put Paul's old jacket on the floor, hoping Cleo might find some comfort in it. Cleo immediately curled up in it, nuzzling into the familiar scent, purring softly. But Hannah knew deep down it was just a memory, and memories weren't enough. 3 years had passed. Cleo was getting older now. Her once bright green eyes were starting to dim, her energy fading. But her routine never changed. Every day she sat by the door, waiting, until one stormy evening. The wind howled outside, the rain hammering against the windows. Hannah was in the kitchen cleaning up after dinner when she heard Max call out, "Mom!" Cleo's not at the door. A sudden wave of panic hit her. Cleo hadn't missed a single evening by that door. Not once. Hannah dropped what she was doing and rushed to find her. She found Cleo in the living room, curled up in Paul's old jacket. But something was different. Cleo's breathing was shallow, her small body trembling with every breath. Hannah's heart sank. She knew what was happening, but she didn't want to believe it. She knelt down beside Cleo, tears streaming down her face as she gently stroked her fur. Cleo looked up at her with those tired eyes, and for a moment there was peace. Cleo had waited. For years she had waited for Paul to come home. But now, in her final moments, it seemed she had finally realized he wasn't coming. Hannah sobbed quietly, holding Cleo close. "I'm so sorry," she whispered, her voice breaking. "He's not coming home, but we're still here. We love you so much." Cleo's eyes fluttered closed, her breathing slowing, until finally, it stopped. She was gone. Cleo had waited her whole life for someone she loved, someone who could never come back. But in the end, she wasn't alone. She had Hannah. She had Max. She had a family who loved her until the very last breath. It's heartbreaking to think about how deeply animals feel, how they hold on to the people they love, sometimes even more than we do. Cleo's story is a reminder that pets are more than just animals, they're family. They love us unconditionally, and sometimes they wait for us in ways we can never truly understand. If Cleo's story touched your heart, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We share real stories that remind us just how precious the bond between humans and animals really is. And trust me, you won't want to miss the next one.